All right, everybody. I do have the recorder going. This is Saturday, April 19th, and this is the Living Resilience is the name of the kind of umbrella organization out here in the interwebs. And this is an online year-long or more um, course offering that we're producing in Living Resilience called Islands of Sanity in a Mad World. And the
Mm.
world has absolutely lived down to the title of that course. Just in the past few months, I'm looking forward to today, each of us checking in at perhaps a deeper level than we might usually, with a bit more kind of we're going to practice a shorthand way of checking in that in just a couple of minutes, you would be able to check in with somebody who speaks a similar shorthand, and you'd be able to share quite a bit about how you're doing instead of the, kind of leisurely pace that we might have over a cup of tea with friends on a sunny day or something. What I'm noticing is that virtually everybody that I know, including myself, is has a jam-packed schedule and a full plate, so to speak, of virtually every kind of content, from the most delightful and enchanting and enriching of our souls and so on, to, of course, the other aspects of most of our days, which can be the things of work and school and children and parents and caregiving and loving and um, not loving so much and, and having various kinds of challenges that we are facing. So um, there are a few, um, I have to just name the innate bias here of all too often there are a large amount of stressors coming from the U.S. these days, no matter where the rest of y'all may be living. So I thank you in advance for your patience with when we from time to time err on the side of speaking a bit more than is probably right about those stressors coming from the U.S. And I am certainly responding to a few this week in particular, and it's been going on really since the turn of the year. Um, this is not meant to be exclusively a U.S. oriented conversation, nor is it intended to be particularly political in nature. But again, these days and these particular challenges um, demand a certain amount of intentful attention, at least. So that's my long-winded way of saying thank you for your patience when we do spend some time that in that direction. And one of the first ways that we're going to be checking in with one another is noticing how and where we're deploying our attention in life. And that is, I'm assuming that that could be a useful piece of information that you'd like to exchange with a kindred spirit. We're now practicing as if we're meeting each other on the street in any town, Canada, or any town, Scotland, or wherever people are calling from. And we meet and we only have a couple of moments to be able to check in and really check in. And I'm particularly pausing right now. I'm cueing my system. I've been speaking a bit rapidly and I'm conscious of time slipping away in our first hour and so on. So I'm cueing my system just by slowing down my speaking, the pacing, I'm slowing down my breathing. even slowing down my thinking. And I would invite you to do the same. I'm imagining that you might have your own kind of ritual, your own way of cueing your system. System meaning all the different aspects that make up you and your body. So please follow my cueing myself with your cueing yourself to being able to authentically answer or respond. You meet, we meet each other on the street. We know we both have to get going, but we are so curious how you doing. And part of that queuing is to be able to just quickly scan your own system to be able to find what are the aspects that I would most like to share with this person briefly. I would like them to know that. And I'd like to share that with a few words. But more importantly, I'd like to have what makes it an authentic, in my view, it makes it an authentic sharing is that it's more of an impression pulsed out to the other person, making it instead of monochromatic or only one way of expressing myself. It's not just the words. It's also that there's an alignment in the impression that's pulsing out from my system to yours if I happen to be bumping into you on the street. If this isn't quite making sense, well, actually, could I just see hands of people who are, yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, or I have my own words for it, but yeah, we're in good shape. Okay. Okay. And Chris just kind of halfway. So now I'm going to the next level of queuing my system to make sure that I'm following a thread that we can go through a few layers of this, scanning our system, seeing what the most prominent message that we'd like to send to this other person that we're briefly checking in with, letting it surface, and then sharing it. This first question, if you look in your chat, I think it shows up for everyone, even if you've come in just a moment ago. Please let me know if there's not quite a long thing that says name
Mm.
your level of engagement in the chat. Are you able to see that? Okay.
Looking for the chat. Where is the chat?
The chat, are you on a regular computer?
I'm on my laptop.
Good. Okay, so at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll
Yeah.
see, you'll see one of those little icons is
Oh, here it is.
chat.
It was under more, dot, dot, dot.
Yeah, right. So with this is actually not, it might be part of your check-in. If you'd like to tell this person that you care for, that you're just bumping into, but really this is between you and me.
This looks like it would take a long time, at least for me anyway.
Well, that's each of these
Mm.
takes a little bit to describe, but you're going to find one of those words, one or two of those words,
Mhm.
and you're just going to land there. It's just a
Okay.
kind of a
Okay.
choose, you know.
Not everyone.
No,
Okay.
no, this is
That'll take forever.
Yeah, I know. Especially, oh, I thought it was religion, but it's region. Okay.
so this is starting to create a shared language for what it is to be able to check in briefly, but authentically and perhaps deeply with another person. Given it's unlikely all of our lives will be slowing down anytime soon, it might be a useful way to create this shorthand so that in the few minutes that we do have,
Like,
the possibility of having a remarkably deep and heartful connection, assuming that that's a good thing and what we're aiming for. So I would like to just start um, with a very brief check-in. Please take less than a minute to do this check-in. And you're just going to be letting us know where is, just by default, on average, where is your attention? Where do you deploy your attention in the world? On average. Of course, it shifts from time to time to a bigger scale, all the way out to the global scale from time to time, all the way back into the most personal of all, within our own bodies. Like I just went to the doctor yesterday for a checkup. And so I had some attention on my most personal, most intimate, most inner level of what my experience is. That is not where my attention is most of the time in the day. So I'm going to give you an example of a super brief check-in because we're going to be talking about other parts of check-in. So I'm going to tell you where my level of engagement is with the world, particularly with my attention. And then I'm just going to give you maybe a sentence about that particular level of attention and what I've been noticing in the past day or so. So you all know that I'm Dean, and I'm here in Ashland, Oregon. And the level of engagement with the world, the level at which I engage my attention with the world, is intimate relations, friends and neighbors, and national at the moment. And the one sentence I would have about where my attention's been with that nation level attention is I'm deeply disturbed by the deportation of people, including U.S. citizens, that appears to be a new trend in our country. I find it deeply, deeply disturbing. That's me and a brief check-in and letting you know where, on average, most of my attention is in a given day. Is there somebody who'd like to give us the next round, your check-in and your level of attention and engagement?
I guess
I can go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
Oops. Okay. I would go with my nation, which is Canada. And we have an election coming up on the 28th of April. And I've been focused on following the debates. There were only two debates because there's a very short window from the time we knew we had to get a new prime minister until the election. So there was only time to schedule one debate in French and one debate in English. And I must confess that I taped the English debate, but I didn't watch it because I just looked for the comments from the people who were sort of reviewing what went on. And I was happy to see that there were no major gaffes or whatever. And I'm really hoping that Mark Carney is going to be our new prime minister. He's leading right now, but things can change.
Got to stop you, Bev. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Got it.
So
National.
that's it.
Thank you very
And
much.
I'm having a procedure next week. They call it surgery, but it's a very mild thing. But I'm still put out for it, and I'm a little concerned about that. That's me.
Thank you very much. The next person for plane of engagement or level of your intention.
I can go next,
You.
and I'll try to make it short as well. Um, I think that for me, there's a lot of personal work I'm doing on my health and spirituality, also intimate relations with family, friends, clients is most of my attention is really on that. But I can't help but also have my attention on the national issues in the United States. I'm in Redwood City, California, and I'm really struggling with that at the moment. And I'm applying this, I'm really trying to integrate being a spiritual being, having a human experience into the world that exists right now. And it's there's a lot of grief. It feels like a lot of struggle. And I'd like to say it feels more possible than it is at the moment.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess that's all there is to say about that.
Thank you. Thank you for your presence as you shared that.
I'll take a stab.
Thank you.
First, thanks for the invitation. I was delighted to discover this group at its early inception, and I regret that my Saturdays are typically very busy, as is every other day, and I've not had an opportunity before today to join you.
Hmm.
So, of course, the matters on the list, I'm intently watching all and engaged in sort of a removed observation level with all except the land-based relations. Uh, I'm fortunate enough to live in a place that is rich in geology and the real history of the world. I've become aware over my 72 years of life of the bifurcated world that we live in. One being the natural world, and I'm fortunate here to have a significant river running across my property. Right across the river to the south is a 100-foot sandstone bluff with an ancient ancestral Puebloan community, a little village. I have 30 acres of wildlife habitat along the Animas River. And right now we're focused strictly on uh, hardening our food production and increasing our self reliance and sustainability here on the property. And that, I think, brings the fact that we live in a natural world here is very heartening in a time when the complex world of human construct is in anarchy. And so anyhow, I'm glad to be here with you today and joining this conversation.
Everett, welcome. And if you'd like, you could stick around either after this session or the next 1 hour session, and I can help you connect up with the course materials if that's of interest to you. There's some videos and articles and so on that are kind of in parallel with these sessions. And if that's of interest, just stick around and I can show you how to do that.
Sure.
Great. Next person, please. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, hi there. Yeah, my three, I guess. First one is probably neighbours, I think, living in Scotland here at Findhorn in our little eco community. A lot of my life is wrapped up in the community. Easter weekend, a lot of visitors, and our new sanctuary opens tomorrow after 4 years since our old one was burnt down. So we've got a big ceremony. So that's good. The nation, we have some regional elections coming up here in week and a half's time, and sort of the right-wing party Reform have been very emboldened by Donald Trump's election and the tech billionaires, and just online on social media, they're just pumping out so much stuff. And I intermittently go between responding and challenging it and just going, I can't be bothered. So I'm sort of holding actions and then not doing those. But I do feel it has some impact in challenging things. It's important to do that. And I was reading yesterday of Good Friday, Matthew Fox talking about evil and saying Good Friday is a sort of reminder of evil in a way, and the power of bad forces to kill good forces, and they're still in the world. So someone has to be awake all the time. And finally, international, I guess, is my thing, because by nature I'm an internationalist, and I'm always fascinated by interrelationships, interconnections, and systems and structures in the world. So yeah, thank you.
Got it. Thank you.
I guess I'll go next.
Okay.
I'm Richard, in Texas, and one of the most conservative states in the United States. So since I'm not that way at all myself, it's quite an uncomfortable fit, especially right now. So yeah, most of my attention is probably on the state and national political situations, because the fascist and authoritarian stuff is just increasing almost every day, it seems, and got me pretty worried. Yeah, it's just a very strange time, and I do a lot of writing about it, and I'm still doing that, and that probably is like a escape valve or a steam valve or something that lets me let off steam and helps me keep my sanity in the middle of all this crazy nonsense. And I'm just struggling through like everybody else, and
Hmm.
it's not easy. That's that's my check-in.
All right. Richard, thank you. Karen, could we hear from you?
Sure. So yeah, good to be here. It's been a while. So like Beverly, I'm in Toronto, Canada. So certainly the attention at the national level with our election coming up. But I would say what's coming up for me is more the focus on family, friends, neighbors. That's, something that maybe I don't prioritize as much, but certainly with our grown children who are in their late 20s, just really making an effort to stay in touch with them, see them when I'm with them, be present, um, and even family, neighbors, and the flowers, spring flowers that are coming up, just really refreshing. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your inclusion of the beauty. Uli, are you ready?
Okay, unmute now.
Ah,
My primary focus lately, just now, is mostly my physical, mental, and spiritual health to stay grounded, and to move through each day with as much, with making sure I go for daily walks, long walks, 2-3 hours walks through. Lucky to live in an environment where I have easy access to forests and beaches and just beautiful scenes, and enjoying the spring popping up as much as I can. The other area of my attention is by necessity, personal and national. I feel the need to keep a close eye on what's happening in terms of human rights and especially the rights of immigrants. I'm a green card holder and making concrete plans of leaving the country within the next couple of months. And I seriously hope that won't be too late. I'm not feeling safe enough to attend the national protest tomorrow. So keeping my activity that way really low key, but staying informed. And also national and with my intention and plans to leave the country and go back to my home continent, Europe, of course, paying attention to what's happening over there, especially Germany, Ireland, and possibly Portugal. Those are some places that I'd like to explore. I can always live in Germany, but there might be other places that might be at this point more appropriate for me because I've spent 48 years out of 76 years of life in this country, and language is a big part of that, cultural norms and all that. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Like I said, primarily it's mostly just keeping myself sane.
Yeah, thank you. Thomas, can we hear from you?
Yeah, I hope my sound is okay. I'm calling from Copenhagen, Denmark, and I would say my main area of interest right now is definitely personal and friends and family. I started a part-time position last week, and along with my salary from that, I still get unemployment benefits. So it's kind of crazy to live in a country that gives you those level of benefits. So yeah, I've been busy settling into the new job, and I find that when you're occupied, your mind doesn't wander as much. I'm planning to visit a friend who lives in a different part of the country next month, and I'm planning a trip, overseas trip, later this year to travel outside Europe for the first time in many years. So I'm going to the embassy in a couple of weeks to apply for a visa. Is that the word? Visa for that country. And yeah, so I've kind of been living in my own world. And yeah, I hope I can maybe someday stream the documentary we talked about. Yeah, so yeah.
Yes, thank you for that reminder about the documentary. I think we're getting close, you and I. Let's keep exchanging emails. Thank you. Carlo, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. A couple of minutes, I think. So yeah, I'm so going on state and nation. I'm from Washington State here in the U.S. And I guess my focus and attention very, very recently is on both the international and global. Just recently I just read a couple of articles about like the Arctic region and like how it's has like the sea ice extent has been its lowest since like recorded history. So yeah, my thoughts have been dwelling on a bit on AMOC, or the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, and like the Blue Ocean event, as is said in like the collapse community. Um, and yeah, I guess that kind of relates to like it being the spring season, and it reminded me of like just recently, like last winter season. There's been like very little snowfall in so many places, including here. So yeah, that's where my attention and focus has been recently.
Thank you very much. And is that everybody on the screen? I think it is.
Yep.
Very good. I'm going to put up the next, perhaps the first real layer of checking in with this imaginary person that you're bumping into on the street and have a couple of moments to check in. So again, um, bear with me with this imaginary meeting moment on the street near you. Um, I'm hoping that it will start to make sense as the weeks unfold out ahead of us. Um, just so you know that this is the first step in a number of steps of accelerating the process of moving through. There are some people who have already encountered some of the course materials, and in the first month's materials, uh, one of the first pieces that everybody's introduced to is what a Canadian writer blogger named Paul Chafurka likes to call the um, the ladder of awareness or the stages of awareness, and that's with regard to a person who is just encountering the idea of human-caused collapse of both Earth and human systems, and uh, how we this is my very rough remembering of Paul Chafurka's layout of the various stages of awareness that he speaks about. The first one being that we are in a world that is basically business as usual or clueless about human caused collapse of Earth or human systems. And he calls it dead asleep. It's a little bit rough, but probably closer to true. And he takes us through, believe it's 4 or 5 stages of awareness that go all the way up to a full acceptance of what's going on. And it's one way a person could talk about these 5 stages is there's more and more systemic awareness. Like we are living in a system of systems. Everything is interrelated. But at the business as usual, clueless level, there's not much that's interrelated with anything. We're barely interrelated with the people in our own household, and I'm being a little rough now, so bear with me. So what I've noticed in these past few weeks is it is really time to accelerate these basic offerings, these kind of initial elements of this curriculum. And this is the easiest way I know to do it, is to imagine bumping into someone with whom you share a bit of language. You both understand this idea of having a rapid fire, but still quite heartful and possibly deep exchange of how you're actually doing. How am I doing? How are you doing? And this allows us also to refine our ability to self-scan. So I need to scan myself quickly and notice what is prominent in my various aspects of my experience. And how do I sort or prioritize so that I know what to share with you when we bump into each other? So this one way of talking about this self-scanning is to talk about not only that we're in physical bodies with a physical center. That I think we're all pretty aware of that notion and maybe even have some awareness of it. But I'm suggesting in this kind of rapid fire self-assessment and then sharing that we would actually notice a number of different prominent elements or aspects of our experience within this body. Sometimes I like to call that different bodies within this body. Probably the easiest one to talk about is a feeling body. So within this physical body with a center, I have a feeling body with a center. And to, again, this is a rapid fire self-assessment, rapid sharing and event that we're talking about. Of course, it is more nuanced and more multifaceted than the basic layout that I've already posted in the chat for us to work off of. And so this one is going to go really quick. There's going to be ridiculously small amount of actual descriptors, actual words that you'll use to describe or bring nuance. Please just bear with this as a thought experiment, as a sharing experiment, as a rapid fire sharing experiment. So with the feelings and emotions body, the feeling body, and I'm wanting to share with you as we bump into each other rapidly, sharing how am I doing? Well, with regard to feelings, and what I'm about to do is give you a demonstration of the kind of rapid fire check-in that I would like you to simulate when it's your turn. I'm going to give you I'm going to go down this list of anger, sadness, fear, joy, and numbness. And I believe that we're all going to be able to memorize those and have them available should you decide to make this something you do from time to time. So what I'm going to be doing is on a 1 to 10 scale. I sometimes use 100 percentiles, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% of my capacity for each of those feelings that's in the little list there. Meaning, for instance, okay, so now I'm going to just do it. I'm going to be saying, anger and a percentage, sadness and a percentage. And the percentage that I'm saying is within the last week or so, this is the amount of the percentage of my capacity that I've actually experienced of that feeling or emotion. So if it's 10%, I've only experienced 10% of my capacity for anger. That's not much. And that's rare that I have a week where I don't have more than 10% anger going on. That's just me. So I'm going to just do it now. So hi, y'all. Good to see you. Let me tell you about my feeling body for this last week. Anger, I've had about 70, 80%. Sadness, I know that I've got somewhere close to 90 to 100% of my ability to grieve and feel sadness, but I am shoving it away. We're consciously shoving it away for later full engagement. So I have not been actively engaging with that grief, with that sadness, but it's been about 90%. Fear, I've had waves of up to 70, 80%. Joy, I've also been able to have a few waves of 70, 80, even a little bit more than that. And numbness, conscious numbness, like I just described with grief, I've had some big waves where I've really just had to shove it down and consciously postpone it. So maybe 80, 90% a couple of times. So there, I've had to quickly self-assess. Remember just what was it like last Thursday when I had that big wave of the fear or whatever it was. And I've got to just move it, feel it, move it, and then be able to express it clearly so that you can get a sense. Is there anybody who'd be willing to check in this rapid fire way regarding your feeling body?
I will give a stab at it.
Great.
Um, so anger this week, while I know I can go all the way to like 90% expression of anger, and righteousness and righteous indignation, was not so high this week. I had one little moment of that, and that typically isn't where I go anymore. Sadness, though, has been really, when I tune in, it's really deep. It feels really hopeless. Um, and so I find that I have to go into numbness for that, and I'll just leave that to, it's very challenging. And that it feels to me like it waffles between, I'll just say it simply, it waffles between that deep sadness and grief that's almost paralyzing to extreme joy. We're in spring. I love the spring. It's my favorite season. I live in a beautiful part of the world. I got sent this beautiful stone I didn't expect in a package. And it's just, you can't really see it, but it has little baby stones embedded in it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it's been the life cycle of this. And I just feel something precious about the little baby embedded stones in there that this rock is now cradling. And that's an expression of the joy and sadness that I have with the immensity of what's going on in our world.
Mm-hmm.
It's preciousness. I'm going to just leave it at that.
Great. Cindy, thank you. Carlo, are you ready?
Yeah, I guess I could like do it next and do a quick one. So I going through all of the emotions listed for anger, I would say about 70 to 90% throughout the week with all the things that are happening. And it's like all the thinking, reflecting on like the poly crisis and everything that's been happening in the US and like how it's affecting relationships internationally and globally. There's that. Sadness, I would actually say it's about 50, 60. And good bit of that was what happened last week. I was able to like have a group chat and group meeting with friends, and we were able to share and watch some movies together and discuss some recent events and recent developments. And it wasn't all gloomy and despair and hopelessness. We got to have some fun discussions and things like that. For fear, it's kind of gradually increasing, 60 to 70 throughout the week. With what I mentioned with the poly crisis and also with like what's happening with the US and like um, people who like even what's happening to US citizens and how they're like unrightfully detained and like even getting deported, things like that. For joy, I'd say, 50, 60. It's kind of like split with like sadness because of what happened last week. I still feel a bit of joy, and I remember like the fun, great discussions I had with friends, and the fact that we are able to just discuss and talk and just like share some time together. For numbness, it is quickly rising though. I would say 70, 80% throughout the week, getting that hollow feeling again and that despair and like just reflecting and thinking about what's in store for like the future and in what could happen in like even in the near recent future. So yeah.
Carlo, thank you. I appreciate your articulation, and it does seem like there's a noticeable difference. I don't know quite what I'm noticing, but there's a noticeable difference in your reporting of the numbness or the emptiness of the, I think you call it hollowness.
Yeah, I like using
Yeah,
that
just
word.
that. Thank you. It's a great articulation, and I appreciate your ability to do that.
Like,
Yeah, please, Chris.
Yeah, I'll go. My anger's been very high this week, probably 90%. And it's also been quite motivating. So I have been acting and responding, and I have to be careful it doesn't spread into areas that it probably shouldn't do. Or, but it has been quite motivating. That's been quite good. And I think it's made my sadness a lot lower. I think my sadness has probably only been, I don't know, 10 or 20%. I think because I've been actually engaged in doing things. And likewise, my fear has been lower as well because, yeah, I've been responding to my anger. And my joy's been higher than normal. And I think because it's spring and it's so beautiful, and I live in a beautiful place, seeing the blossom and big weekend here in the community of our new sanctuary, and different things there's been some nice joyful things that are going on this week. So that's been quite high, about, I don't know, 60% maybe. And numbness, not so much as usual, probably just down 10 or 20%. Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's me.
Chris, I really appreciate your articulation around being able to be clean with your experience of your anger, being able to discern when it's motivating and being able to discern when it's being deployed in a direction that is functional as opposed to harmful. That's a remarkable distinction.
I read a lovely thing from the Buddha this week. I'll maybe post it about when to speak and when not to. I shall I'll see if I can find it and post it.
Yeah.
Please.
It made me laugh. I speak way too much according to that, but anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
To whatever degree that anyone wants to engage with the course materials and this online community space that we have for all the coursework in living resilience and stuff, there is an online chat space there that's not the big boogie woogie, Facebook kind of creepy stuff. It's just a private space where we can post. And there's another whole place area to post in that is primarily for that kind of thing. It's poetry, it's songs, it's art, it's wise words from past generations and so on. So feel free. And Bev, are you ready?
I have trouble with these short things,
If you're welcome to pass.
I'd like to pass. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to pass.
Great. I saw Richard waving. Yeah.
Yeah. My main experience the last week sort of fits these categories, or it sort of contains all of them in different amounts, and that's feeling of helplessness. Like, being in Texas and the United States with so many really ugly fascist and lunatic things are happening. So, I think I've been feeling very helpless and frustrated. So the frustration is anger mainly. So, I'd say my anger level is probably up around 80% this week, just because so many horrible things have been happening, and I've been tuning into it all and watching it all and feeling helpless, like I said. So, the helplessness kind of, there's anger in it, there's sadness in it, there's fear in it. Not too much joy, though. Yeah, so with the helplessness, there's a lot of sadness there. Like, damn, I mean, maniacs and fascists are grabbing control all over the world, especially in this country, and I'm really sad about it. It's horrible. So that's probably up around 80 or 90% now. And the fear factor is growing because, well, just because all these things are happening, and it's not affecting me personally that much yet, but it's going to. I mean, it's going to affect everybody personally at some level. pretty soon, I think. If only because of the stupid tariffs and the prices of things going up and all that. So, we got a lot of challenges. And so, mm, numbness, I don't really feel too much numbness. I'm pretty in touch with feeling angry, sad, fear, helpless, all those things. I don't like feeling all these things, but that's where I'm at. Very uncomfortable.
Got it. Richard, thank you. Everett, are you ready?
This is a tough one for me. I'll give it a go.
Okay.
Maybe a little differently than what's been expressed.
Mhm.
Uh, I actually find that these emotions occupy a fairly small amount of my time.
Mhm.
Of course, I'm angry. I mostly, and what I try to do, I guess, with each of these is understand the subject, what it is I'm angry about, what it is I'm sad about, what it is that I fear, with some sort of specificity. My anger, I think, is primarily focused at the enablers who know better, who have a moral compass that they have chosen to disconnect from
Hmm.
to allow this to happen.
Yeah.
My sadness is for those broken individuals who have been thrust into leadership positions around the world to lead the craziness, most of whom have no ability to control themselves. And my main sadness is that no one loves them enough to intervene and extricate them from this foolishness. I drop down then to joy,
Mhm.
and that is that there are many things that were not working well within our system. And although I prefer to be proactive in dealing with issues, it seems that as humans, we respond most often reactively. And so here we are at an opportunity to emerge from this, making things much better. My fear is that we won't do everything that we can. I have no time for numbness.
All
My
right.
time is spent trying to understand what's going on, to try to ideate solutions, ideate differences, and to emerge from this being better than we were.
Beautiful. Crystal clear, Everett. Thank you very much. And Karen, you ready?
Okay.
Excuse me, before
Anger,
I'm
I'd
I'm I'm
say,
sorry, so sorry to interrupt. I just want to mention we are right up on the
yeah.
official ending time of this session. I'm gonna pull a fast one on us all and say that we didn't really start this thing till about 6 minutes after. So I'm gonna buy back those 6 minutes and it's gonna eat into our break time. We will still be starting up at 30 minutes past the hour for the second hour. And so if we could just have the last remaining folks that are still have yet to share about feeling body, please do so. And then we will take our break and then we will come back for hour two. And Karen, I'm so sorry to have interrupted.
Yeah, no problem. Anger, I generally don't feel too much anger, so I'd say that's pretty low. I don't know, 5%, 2%. Sadness, maybe that's a bit higher, really about the natural environment and, human rights and impact on people. Maybe that's 50. Fear, low, I'd say maybe 10. In the last week, joy, I'd say quite high, maybe 80%. My brother-in-law and his wife are in town, and we were at a family event that we go to every year. It was his first time seeing cousins in 50 years, and it was a big family. So every time he saw another cousin that, wow, Tim, it was really fun. So that was really neat. Numbness, I sometimes I think go into that as a bit of a coping mechanism. So I don't know, I'd say maybe 30%. Thanks.
All righty. Thank you so much. Julia, are you ready?
Yeah, I can try. Although I think I'm having trouble putting everything into numbers. But I know that I have been on a roller coaster ride between the fight, flight, and freeze response, which involves a whole bunch of anger, sadness, and fear. And on the other side, numbness. Yeah, so I'm just trying to keep my balance somewhat on that ride, that roller coaster ride. And I don't even want to put it into numbers, but I know that most of the joy that I'm still able to feel comes from being out in nature on my long walks and doing what I can to engage in community and volunteer activities and that for me at this time means cooking large meals for the homeless shelter. I always get a lot of encouragement and hope and joy from that, much needed and being of benefit to others. So thanks.
Thank you.
Beautiful, Lily.
That is heartwarming. Thank you so much. Thomas, are you ready?
Yeah. It's not on the list, but I would say I feel a great sense of gratefulness. Living in a country where I can work part-time and still receive unemployment benefits. I think that's kind of crazy. To live in a country that gives you that possibility. Yeah, gratitude. And I guess a sense of another word that isn't on the list, but anticipation. I'm looking forward to visiting my friend next month, and I'm looking forward to my overseas trip outside Europe. So yeah, it's kind of self-centered, but yeah.
That's fine.
Is that complete for you, Thomas?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So thank you all for joining me in this rapid fire self-assessment and then brief sharing exploration. Again, I'm anticipating this making sense as one tool in the toolbox of how we might bring a more soulful, heartful dimension to each of our relations. And when we're lucky enough to bump into somebody who kind of speaks that similar language, it might help out, might assist us in even in the midst of a very full, busy, sometimes chaotic world. We might be able to carve out a little island of coherence in the middle of it all. So thank you all for diving in. I look forward to seeing your smiling faces at the bottom of the hour in what is that, 25 minutes. Have a lovely break. I'll see you then.
Great. Bye. See you soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.